Imagine this. Empires don't usually collapse when everyone is watching. They collapse when everyone is distracted. No fireworks, no final battle, just a quiet shift in who controls money, trust, and time. Right now, most people think global power is decided by armies, elections, or technology, but that's the surface story. Beneath it, there's a repeating cycle that has quietly shaped every major world power for the last 500 years. And it doesn't care who you vote for. It doesn't care how advanced your weapons are. It doesn't even care how rich you think you are. This cycle decides who writes the rules and who eventually has to follow them. And the uncomfortable part is this: we're not at the beginning of the cycle anymore. We're somewhere near the end. To understand why this matters now, forget headlines for a moment. Forget daily market moves. Think bigger. Think decades. Think generations. Every dominant global power starts the same way. After chaos, war, or collapse, a country emerges with three advantages: productive people, manageable debt, and a currency others trust. That trust is everything, because once the world trusts your money, you gain a superpower. You can borrow cheaply. You can import real goods in exchange for paper. You can finance growth faster than anyone else. This is how the Dutch rose in the 1600s, how Britain ruled the 1800s, how the United States dominated the 20th century. Different flags, same pattern. In the early phase, the focus is work, manufacturing, trade, building things the world actually needs. Capital flows in because returns are real. Debt stays reasonable because growth covers it. Inequality exists, but it's tolerable. People believe the system works because, for most of them, it does. Then comes the middle phase. This is where things start to look impressive on the surface. The country gets rich, very rich. Financial markets expand. Banks grow powerful. Money starts making money faster than labor does. The economy becomes less about producing and more about optimizing, engineering, and extracting value. This is when finance overtakes industry. It feels sophisticated, smarter, cleaner, but it quietly changes incentives. Instead of asking, "What should we build?" the system starts asking, "How can we leverage this?" Debt rises, but it's framed as strategic, necessary, harmless. After all, the currency is strong. Everyone wants it. What could go wrong? This is also when inequality accelerates. Asset owners pull ahead. Wage growth slows. The gap widens, not because people are lazy, but because the system rewards capital more than contribution. Still, confidence remains high. The charts look good, the headlines sound optimistic, and critics are dismissed as pessimists who don't understand the modern world. That's usually the moment when the cycle turns. Because eventually the math stops being friendly. Debt doesn't just rise linearly, it compounds. Interest costs grow faster than the economy itself. Governments discover that a growing share of their revenue goes not to building or improving anything, but simply to servicing old promises. So they borrow more. At first, this works. Then it works less. Then it only works if interest rates stay low forever, which they never do. Here's the hidden mechanism most people miss. Reserve currencies don't collapse because of one crisis. They erode because maintaining the illusion of stability requires increasingly extreme intervention. Money gets cheaper, then almost free, then abundant. Asset prices inflate. Productivity doesn't. The system becomes dependent on constant liquidity, like a patient who can't survive without life support. And this creates a strange irony. The stronger the currency's global role, the harder it becomes to reform. Any real correction threatens the entire system, so leaders delay. They patch. They kick problems forward in time. Short-term stability becomes more important than long-term health. Meanwhile, other countries are watching, learning, building alternatives quietly. This is where hype and reality diverge. The hype says dominance lasts forever because this time is different. The reality says no system has ever escaped this cycle. Not the Dutch guilder, not the British pound, not any reserve currency in history. They didn't vanish overnight. They slowly lost relevance. Trade shifted, reserves diversified, influence faded. And here's the uncomfortable part. Decline often looks like success right until the moment it doesn't. Late-stage powers still feel powerful. Their markets are huge, their companies dominate, their culture is everywhere. But underneath, trust starts to thin, allies hedge, rivals gain confidence, internal cohesion weakens. Social tension rises because the economic system no longer feels fair, even if it still looks rich on paper. Politics polarize, not because people suddenly became irrational, but because the pie stopped growing the way it used to. This is the phase where history gets noisy, not with collapse, with denial. Every cycle ends the same way, either through painful restructuring or through slow decay, masked by numbers that no longer reflect reality. And no, this doesn't mean tomorrow everything breaks. Cycles don't work on social media timelines. They work on generational ones. That's what makes them so dangerous. By the time most people agree something is wrong, the options are already limited. The real question isn't whether the cycle exists. The data is clear. The pattern repeats too cleanly to ignore. The real question is this: can a global power recognize where it is in the cycle and change before history finishes the script for it? Or is every dominant system destined to believe its own myth right until the moment the world quietly moves on? That's the part no one likes to talk about, because once you see the cycle, you can't unsee it.